As you can see here, we have Alexander Morozevich, who is currently number 10 in the world. I'll scroll down. This is his Wikipedia page. I'll do it slowly. For those of you that want to read it, of course, you'll have to stop the video. And those are some of Morozevich's accomplishments. I'll scroll all the way through. He is playing the white pieces in this game. And that's Alexander Morozevich. And here we have Karl Nakamura from the United States, rated as of today number 9 in the world. This is his Wikipedia page. That's a little bit older picture of Akaro. He's quite young in that picture. They should update it, but he's got a baby face anyway. So anyway, there's some things about Akaro, date of birth, such like that. Some of his background when he was young, or I should say younger. I'll breeze through this. Any of you that of course want to read it can just pause the video. And that's Akaro there, some of his background. And we scroll through there. It's a game that he played when he was quite young, 2002. I believe against his first Grandmaster win, I think. And there we have his record of some of the top players in the world. He's even with Mickey Adams. He's +1 against the current world champion. There you go in order: wins, losses, draws. Unfortunately, he's lost 5 against Magnus and drawn 6. He's never beaten Magnus, but I think that's going to change in the future. We have against Grishuk, who's a great player. Wang Hao, I know he beat recently, so this is as of January of last year, 2012. And he's +1 against Karpov. Kramnik, he does pretty well. 3 wins, 2 losses, 5 draws. Alexei Shirov, poor Nigel Short, he's +2, 0 losses and 2 draws. I like Nigel a lot, that's why I say poor Nigel. And that's Karl Nakamura, who is playing the black pieces, currently number 9 in the world as of today. Hi folks, John Cordisco back again with another great chess video for you. This is from the FIDE Grand Prix taking place in Greece right now. This is a game between Alexander Morozevich from Russia, who's playing white, number 10 in the world, and Karl Nakamura, my buddy from the US, rated number 9 in the world, is the black pieces. I wanted to say before we get started, I want to dedicate this video to my friend Paula, who hasn't been feeling well lately. So, hi Paula, this one's for you. She's not a chess player, but she likes to watch the videos just the same. This is round 4, played on May 25th, 2013. And Akaro is black and Morozevich is white. It starts out E4, then C5. I believe it's the Scheveningen Sicilian. Knight to F3, D6, which of course is important. Consolidates the E5 square. D4, C takes, knight takes. Black's a little behind development, but that's common in this opening. Knight to F6, knight to C3, E6, bishop to E3. Now, as you can see, it's partially to do with the opening, but white has 1, 2, 3 minor pieces, and black only has 1. A6, F3 to shore up the E4 pawn. B5, queen to D2. I kind of like that move myself. As you can see, it looks like white's going to prepare to castle queenside, which makes for a wild game because black will probably castle kingside, and you're going to have a pawn storm on each side. Who can race to the king first? Those games are always fun to watch. They're exciting to play in, but they're more fun to watch because you're at least under that kind of pressure. Knight B to D7. G4. Currently it's It's about a 3/4 pawn advantage for white. H6. That's kind of important as well, this H6 move. It's solidifying this square here on G5. And that's an important square if you're going to have a pawn storm coming at you. Knight to A3. Bishop B7. White finally castles long. Rook to C8. Black's king's in the middle of the board still. I'd be a little leery. H4. D5. Here we go. Here comes the break. Rook to G1. As you can see, white's looking to push his pawns against the Caro on the king side, who's not castled yet. Maybe he's just waiting. Maybe he might be better off castling on the other side, not castling at all, depending on the situation. We all know white's going to go G5. That's why I have the arrow there. That's his main move to open up the position. Caro plays D takes, G5. H takes, knight to D5. Knight takes D5. Interesting move would have been, instead of knight takes D5, so knight takes E4. And we'll want B4, A takes, bishop takes, queen to E2. That's interesting. That A pawn is going to be running down the board here pretty soon to break up the castled king. Caro isn't castled yet, but I think with proper play, Caro should be in good shape. After knight takes D5, bishop takes, G6, F5, F takes, F takes. Interesting though. I think up for consideration might have been bishop takes E4 instead. It looks really dangerous, but I don't think black's going to have a problem here. After F takes, well, let's follow the continuation of bishop takes E4 instead. I think it should go knight takes, bishop takes C2, queen takes. That was instead of rook takes C2. Queen takes, bishop takes, knight takes, bishop to D1, and knight to F7. How crazy is that? It's a big positional advantage for white. So I can see why Caro didn't run down that road. I think this would be a good time to pause for these messages.
Some calls are better left to the voicemail.
Hi folks, welcome back. I hope you all enjoy those little commercials, or sometimes I'll put introductions to old American television shows. I kind of get a kick out of it. Some might be considered a little racy, but it's just all in good fun. They're funny. After black's 18th move, F takes E4, it's king to B1, knight to E5. Now it's showing about a little over a half a pawn advantage currently for white. This is kind of a crazy position. I mean, you've got a pawn down here on the 6th rank, isolated, but right in the middle of black's camp. You got an uncastled king still on move 19. This bishop hasn't moved. This rook hasn't moved. This is pretty crazy stuff. Knight takes B5. Interesting move. Of course, we can see after knight takes, if pawn takes, bishop would check. And we can see why, of course, why that you see the almost Anakin's gun going, Alyakin's gun going right down on the black position. It's pretty crazy stuff right now. Instead of knight takes b5, I think what would be worth considering was a4 for white. And it could have went knight to f3, knight takes, e takes, a takes b, which is currently showing about a 3/4 advantage for white in score, a little over half. It's a much interesting position. It's a pretty crazy position. I didn't catch the game until the very end, so I didn't see. I know Morozevich was getting low on time towards the end. After 20 for white, knight takes b5, knight to f3 right away. Interesting move instead. I think instead of knight to f3 for black was, after white's knight to b5, a takes, bishop takes check, bishop c6, bishop takes, knight takes, queen to c3. That would have been a very interesting position. This is crazy. I mean, you've got 3 connected passed pawns going here in front of the king. Got isolated pawns all over the place. And it's almost dead even in score, oddly enough. After black's 20th move, knight to f3, queen to f2. The computer at this point is showing rook to h2 for black, or queen to d7. And Carl decided to go queen to f6. I can see his understanding. Get the queen into play, get it bearing down on the king. Also, too, maybe this knight move later with a discovered attack on the queen might come in useful. There's a lot of different things. I can see why he did it. Interesting, though, I think queen to d7 was worth looking at, and it would have went queen to c4, knight takes, queen takes, a takes b, c takes d. Crazy stuff. After queen to f6, queen to g3. Now, as crazy as this position looks, and I'm just under 1600 in rating in the USCF American, and look at this. It's crazy. We've got isolated pawns all over the place for black. Black's on castle. Probably never will be in this game. We've got a knight hanging on b5. And yet all those things are going on, and the score is dead even. Go figure. Finally, he takes the knight. Bishop check. King to e7. I kind of questioned that move when I first saw it, but after I look at it for a while, I believe that's the correct move. c4, here comes white's pawns, and then rook to h2 for black, of course, as we can all see. He's threatening mate. Interesting, instead of rook to h2, could have been knight takes g1. That would have been an error. Double question mark error, by the way, because after c takes, e takes, bishop to g5, pinning the queen against the king. So that would have been a disaster for black. After rook to h2, queen takes. This is where we get the imbalance now. Knight takes, c takes the bishop, queen to f5, bishop g5 check. I mean, this is craziness. If we're keeping score here, basically black has a queen for a rook. A queen for a rook and a pawn, and it's a tiny advantage for black. That's how much trouble black's king is in. I mean, look at this here. We've got the bishop bearing down, taking up all the squares. This pawn's covering this square. This bishop's right on him. King can barely move. If he comes here, pawn will take here. I mean, this is a lot of trouble. King to d6. Now, anybody like myself would purposely move into a discovered check after the pawn takes. I don't know if we'd have nerve enough. That's why these guys are world-class players, and we're not. Currently, believe it or not, even though black's up a rook for a queen, the score is dead even. This is crazy stuff. I think this is a good opportunity now to pause for these messages.
First day of work.
Well, wish me luck.
You'll do fine.
Wanna be on time.
Hey, Bill, wanna go fishing? Nope, I'm going to work.
Wanna make a good impression.
I hear there's a new kid starting today. Oh, I hope he's cute. We're open in a few minutes,
But
sir.
if they think it's a little late to start a new profession, you got what it takes, you know it's true. Bet you'll show them a trick or two.
Let's see, that's 3 bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits, 1 egg McMuffin, 2 sausage muffins with egg, and 1 large OJ.
Are you sure you never did this before?
Thank you. Come again.
How'd it go?
I don't know how they ever got along without me.
Well, I could have told him that.
Hi folks, welcome back. Just looking at this position between edits here in the video, and I gotta tell you the truth, after Black's 27th move, king to d6, and the craziness that's going on in this position, I'm truly amazed that the computer shows this as 0.00 dead even. I gotta tell you, maybe that's why I'm still a 1590 player, USCF rated. It's amazing to look at, and I'll tell you that queen of d6 move, I don't know if I'd have the nerve to do that. After Black's 27th move, king of d6, pawn takes discover check. Didn't take the pawn, which I thought was interesting. The computer's showing neither move is taking the pawn, and of course we all know why. If king took the pawn, bishop here checks, wins the rook. So that's why you can't take the pawn. Those of you that are wondering, it shows king to e5 and king to c7 is the same. Carl went for king to e5. I gotta tell you, Carl's got guts. Bishop to d7 hitting the rook. Interesting would be e7. Be bishop takes and then bishop to d7. Forcing Black to bring the queen here to win the bishop and not lose the rook for free. That would have been interesting. Now, if I recall, Morozevich was getting really low on time, so maybe he didn't want to get all those complications. After White's move bishop to d7, e3. This is crazy. King to a1. Oh, by the way, that e3 was with check. Discover check. Bishop takes a3. Now this is where I came into the game here. And I'll tell you the truth, it would be hard for me not to play e2. It really would. And the computer also shows that move as the best move. And the second choice for the computer is queen to e4 for Black, which is also a good move. Centralizes that queen. And there's some stuff coming here, folks. But instead, Carl took bishop takes a3. After e2, just to show you what would have happened, rook, queen e4 with a over pawn advantage for Black. After bishop takes a3, bishop takes c8, queen to c2, pawn takes, queen to c3 check, king to a2, queen takes c8 to get the bishop back. So currently, if anybody's keeping track, White has 2 rooks and a pawn against the queen. e7 for White, queen to c2 check, king to a1, queen to c3, king to a2, and so on and so on, and back and forth they went, and the game was drawn. That was a crazy game. It was an interesting game. I know Morozevich was getting really low on time. Hikaru saw this bailout the entire time in case it didn't work out for me. I had a perpetual. I thought it was a great game. I had forgotten this tournament started a couple of days ago, so I'm going to be trying to catch up on some of the really good games in it. I thought there was kind of a lull going to be between tournaments. I had forgotten this started, so I'll be getting some more games from this tournament coming up. There's an amazing list of players. Grishuk, Ivanchuk, Svidler, Morozevich, got a Kamsky. Who am I leaving out? I'm sure that I am, but there's amazing players. Anyway, folks, this completes this chess video. I hope you enjoyed it. I want you all to remember that if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. And I hope to see all of you in the next video. And please comment. And please, I would appreciate it, please subscribe. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.